Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana and your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered. Good afternoon, everybody. This is your host, Adriana, and you are listening to Negotiating Happiness, and we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network in the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 and 107.7 FM. Hello. Grab your coffee, grab your lunch. We are here today with Brittney Ashley from Creative Dynamics. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. Thanks so much for coming back.
Yeah.
For all of you that don't know, Brittney is also a host on our network here. And Brittney, tell us a bit about your show.
So the show is called Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. And the whole premise of the show is just to tell everyone and remind everyone that we are worthy of whatever passion we want to pursue. So we kind of dive deep a little bit, sometimes in entrepreneurship, sometimes in a regular business of 9 to 5, just no matter what age you are, whatever your passion is, you're worthy to pursue that. And then on the other realm of it, we like to break down societal norms. So we have had experts come in from human trafficking, censorship, to ADHD researchers. So it's a range of a show, but I just love the different guests that come in with their different topics, their passion, and breaking down different societal norms.
Amazing. So if you guys want to tune in, Brittney is on at 3 p.m. Eastern time, right after me here on a Monday. Highly recommend. You have very interesting guests that come on your show. But I wanted to, snatch up some of your time again because I wanted to talk about a biz makeover. But for those of you who don't know Brittney, I want to do a quick little bio refresher here. So who is Brittney? She's an enthusiastic, multi-passionate entrepreneur on a mission to revolutionize the business game. With the work landscape changing at warp speed, it's high time we team up to make our dreams a reality. Beyond the business hustle, Brittney is a proud Métis mama with a bundle of experience in diverse sectors, including tech, a certified business coach, ACC Accredited, and an imposter syndrome coach. Creative Dynamics, Brittney's company, started as a passion project aiming to empower fellow moms to work from home. It evolved when Brittney spotted a gap in finding rock-solid team players. Picture Creative Dynamics as your full-service boutique-style crew spread across Canada to supercharge business owners. At Creative Dynamics, their values are simple: dedication, reliability, and an unwavering commitment to learning, all in the name of tending to business needs. So Brittney, you are the lead strategist there, and we've already mentioned you're a certified business and imposter syndrome coach. How many other hats do you wear? I mean,
I was just talking to Savannah, who's on the team, and because I've asked her just to fix up the LinkedIn profile more or less, like it's on my to-do list, but it's just like I can never get there. And so I'm like kind of spitballed all these different ideas because we're doing like a fresh rebrand right now. More or less, it's just like what we're still doing. It's just kind of a refresh in a way, and making sure the messaging is very clear. Because if you don't know, any of the listeners, messaging is very important when you're establishing a business. And I feel because I'm self-diagnosed with ADHD, my brain is like going 600 different miles a minute. And so sometimes I kind of go different ways with my messaging. So we're trying to hone it in this time. And then that's with the LinkedIn profile. So I was just saying to Savannah of like, I need you because my brain will go all these different ways. So you just need to take what I'm saying to you right now and put it all nice over here. I'm my own client, my own business, I swear.
That's so funny. I've also had very similar thoughts lately about LinkedIn. I feel like I don't use it at all, and I should. And I feel like some of my people live on LinkedIn, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Instagram, and we are actually live on Instagram right now too. It's great because I can find my people that are doing very similar things to me, and some of my clients are on there, but I feel that LinkedIn is just untapped typically, because it tends to be an employer-employee type of, deal. But in a Facebook group that I'm in, well, actually, Jen and I have that Facebook group, the Solopreneur Collective. I asked a question, and I said, I'm just genuinely interested in knowing how service providers like us, use LinkedIn to kind of break through that employer-employee market, because obviously at some point employers or heads of companies are on there and are seeing the need for consultants and whatnot. And this would be such a great, if anybody is a LinkedIn expert on social media, hit us up, because we would love to talk to you, and we'd love to feature what it is that you do for business owners, because I definitely think on our side here, it's not as used as it should be.
It's so true. I find I always just tell everyone to pivot to LinkedIn. And so I'm like, why am I not practicing what I preach? And that's kind of my motto this year. I'm not even going to lie. It's full system cleanup, you helped me do. I'm still in the process there. We're almost there.
Almost there.
All the things, and thinking out of a better strategy on LinkedIn, because at the end of the day, I want us to be more of a thought leader within the VA OBM space. And then how else can you do that by touching into different areas of social media like LinkedIn to kind of get the name out there a bit more. And also I've been doing a lot more speaking opportunities this year. So I just feel a lot of those opportunities are way over on LinkedIn. Then sometimes, Facebook's good, but you have to be really knowing where you need to show up and actively post.
Right.
I do have, sorry.
No, sorry. I was just thinking also, you have to think about who lives on LinkedIn versus who lives on Facebook in terms of an audience, right? So this kind of goes back to what you were saying. It's very important to know what your messaging is, because then once you know what your messaging is, you can target it towards your specific audiences. What were you saying? Sorry, I totally interrupted there.
Oh, good. But even with Facebook, I find Facebook's beast in itself. So once you figure out too, where your groups are, where to actively show up, it can be night and day. There's really good podcasting, speaking Facebook groups that you can show up and you make one post and they interconnect you to I have to remember the name of this Facebook group, but it's really good. So it's a podcast group / speaking group, and you just show up and you highlight what you have, your expertise and where you want to go with it. And they just give you this platform of coming on their general platform in public speaking or flying anywhere to public speak around the world. It's crazy.
Amazing.
It's free. Show up too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to think about. And it's so funny because the entire time we've been talking about what else can I do in my business? What else? But today we actually got together to talk about, how to leverage one day into a whole makeover for your business. And that doesn't necessarily mean, coming up with more services, but kind of like what you're talking about, cleaning up what you already have in order for it to serve you better as you're diving deeper into development and, going forward. So both you and I kind of work the same way in terms of VIP days, where you have 1 day reservation and you work specifically with just that one business or that one business owner to kind of just tick off a bunch of things off the list, or maybe it's a bigger thing that is able to be, kind of wrapped up in a couple of hours. So tell us a little bit about what your experience is with these VIP days. And this could be possibly for somebody who needs one, or for other service providers who are thinking of offering day reservations. We're just here to kind of share our experience.
Yeah. And I feel in a nutshell, VIP days or VIP intensives are really good when you're trying to move the needle that you haven't been able to do. So I'm a good example. because I'm doing like 600 different things, as you know. And just with the CRM, for example, like I need to get this done. And like I actually personally was even thinking like maybe I just need Addie in here for another day
to wrap it up.
Wrap it up, because I'm just going to sit here and spin my wheels and be forever in Dubsado. Like, don't get me wrong, Dubsado is great, but I've moved over to Moxie because I just see the potential where I can grow the business in that size for what we're doing.
Right.
But I think it's also like the probably the change factor too. I think I'm having a difficulty on, because I'm just so used to, I've been using Dubsado for almost 5 years. And I decided for whatever reason, let's do a switch for all the different platforms. I'm like going against the grain of every client. But I don't even know why. I don't know why I went on that route. I think really though, it was because I was trying to save money and I was trying to see what was out there a little bit more cheaper for what you do. And like I was really trying to streamline my costs. So I've purchased a lot of things on AppSumo. If you've never heard of AppSumo, it's a great platform when you're just starting out on a business or have a business and you're like, oh, I really need a platform, a social media management platform, for example. And so I purchased Vista Social, and it's up there running. I have Endless. It's a one-time fee. I think it was like one-time fee of 200 USD. And now I have unlimited storage, unlimited places I can post, unlimited brand. Great. And it's an extra service I can provide clients. But going back to the VIP days, I think it's really important for just maybe new business owners or current business owners ready to scale to kind of get that needle moved. I feel like sometimes we're just we feel like we have to do, like, I just need to hire an OBM for that 6 months. But sometimes you can get those things done within a day, or you might need a few intensives depending on how much the back end is. Because I find sometimes when we're in the in the mix of it, we sometimes forget to clean up our own stuff. I know I'm one of those. I actually, like, this is a year of cleanup for me. So excited that my inbox is fully cleaned. Like because I forward everything. I have a system for my like bookkeeping. So my bookkeeping email section is completely clean now for 2023-24. So I'm like feeling like
amazing.
I'm ready to do 2024 again. But I'm a little late to start, I feel
it's like almost August. I'm not laughing at you because I'm still in the trenches for 2023. I'm not even going to lie about it. I'm still in the trenches with that.
In my defense,
oh, this is terrible.
Right? Yeah. We did lose daycare in 2024 at the start of it. And so for listeners who don't know, I have two little ones. And my youngest lost daycare, which definitely throws a wrench in the mix. And I think that starts, like, personal things come into fruition sometimes when you're building a business or in a business. And those are like the perfect moments to sometimes think of, like, let's put in VIP days. Let's do an intensive with whoever you find. I know you and I both offer the service. And it's just kind of sit down with the person and they can strategize and think what is best for you right now to move that needle.
Yeah. No, for sure. I was actually thinking of kind of making it a bit more visual for people, for them to understand kind of what are some of the things that we work on, right? Like, we have probably, between you and I, we have a ton of, I guess,
we kind of come
cases
together.
Yeah. We have a ton of examples of the things that that we do, right? So I was just thinking, I literally just pulled up a Google Doc as we were talking, and just so you know, this is how these consultations work too. We're talking and we're making notes at the same time. I'm going to actually share it to see if we can come up with a couple of very concrete things that may be getting, your juices flowing, thinking, oh, I still have to do that too. But I just wanted to show, let's see there. It's just literally a Google Doc. It's nothing fancy. You can see it here. So first, we'll have a consultation with you, right, where we audit your systems. So what do your systems look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you would look for specifically when you're talking to clients
I think the biggest thing first
to
is
understand?
I was just going to understand. I think I always ask questions like where they hope to be in 5 years, where they are right now, where are they stuck? Do they have any automations in place? What are things that are really bogging them down? Because
Yeah,
sometimes
that's a really good one.
there could be certain things that you're doing within your day that necessarily might not need to be you. So for example, we have worked with somebody, and whenever somebody signs up within their calendar, they always need an NDA to send out automatically. So that's something that they shouldn't have to really necessarily stop to do. That could be an automatic system that we can put within their CRM and or create a Zapier. Depending on, everybody has different systems and different procedures that they want to utilize. So that's another biggest thing too, is understanding what platform you want to use. So this far we have used HubSpot, Dibsado, 17 Hats, Moxie, like you name it, Monday, Pipedrive, like you name it, we probably have done it. And we actually just did a system cleanup too for a bookkeeper, and I've never actually even heard of this system. And she originally wanted to move off of it because she thought that the system wasn't that great. And I just told her, I was like, let me just do some research before I recommend that. Yeah, let's move over here, because everyone just keeps talking about Dibsado, which is great. But I did research, and I was like, you know what? For a bookkeeper, accountant, you should actually be on the platform that you are. I just think you're not utilizing it enough the way that you should. It's just like kind of like interior designers, like my Doma is very popular project management system for interior designers. And there's certain systems out there that are really specific for your industry. And I love to, I'm like kind of like the researcher geek, I guess one would say, before I do anything, any kind of this. Because switching a platform is a lot of work. I'm experiencing
for sure. And that's why, and that's why you can't do it in a day. There's no way that you could do it in a day, right? To switch an entire platform over. But we ask these questions. So we go into a consult to understand how you want to run your business better. And we then make recommendations. So some of the ones that are very, natural, kind of common sense at this point in service-based industries are, what does your project management system look like? And what does your CRM look like? Because they kind of work hand in hand, right? Which is normal. So sometimes people don't even have those. So we have to try and clean up some of the systems that they've created, whether it be like Excel sheets or, some, like, I don't know, maybe they have Airtable. So it's not quite one or the other, right? Just things like that. So we would cut or add out of the process, because the objective is to simplify your life and your business, right? So that's what we would kind of talk about in those, and then we would definitely make recommendations for the future. Like Brittney said, we want to know where you want to be. So we're not just giving you a solution that works for right now. We want to make sure that this is in line with your plan for the next couple of years, because it doesn't make any sense for you to put in this much work or invest so much in something that's not going to serve you later, right?
And sometimes you may not know where you want to be in 5 years, but try to make it in even like simplify and go down to 2 years. Where do you want to be in 2 years, or maybe just 1 year? I have a client, for example, who really wants to make sure they have SOPs in place. So it's cutting. If they have any, if they ever have health issues or whichever, and these are kind of things.
I know
it's cutting in and out. Talking over each other.
I know we're having some technical difficulties here.
So if you're like thinking that you might want to sell your business, maybe you want to turn your business into a franchise and all the things, the biggest thing, what I was trying to say in the mix is try and do SOPs, and VIP days are really good for SOPs sometimes as well, because they might take you might be so busy, not even thinking of putting in these policies, procedures. So I was actually talking to a consultant a few weeks back, and he just loves the fact that we do SOPs, because the person that he's working with to sell his business have nothing in place, and no one's going to buy a business that has not just the numbers in place, but you need that kind of policies and how the business organization is run on a daily basis. Hopefully everyone got that. I sometimes go
so these are huge. No, these are huge because I'll give you my example. If I didn't have any SOPs, or if I didn't have anything documented, then when I went away for 3 weeks, my business would have completely stopped, or it would have, if I'm away, then there is no business. And that way the business is running me, not the other way around. So SOPs don't necessarily have to be like a step-by-step of everything ever on a document, right? There's so many things that we could do. We could do you can make tutorials, you can make training, there's so many different formats that you can have an SOP in that could either help, like you said, maybe somebody that's looking to purchase your business, or just your staff to run it, or the fact that you have one assistant and they need to know how to do things and you just don't have the time to do it. This is one of the biggest roadblocks that business owners have, is they would rather say, I'd rather do it myself because I don't have the time to teach somebody how to do it. But if you're building these SOPs as you go, you then have a library of these where you don't feel like you're taking endless days, right? To show them how to do this. So it could be, it could be written, it could be a presentation or training. It doesn't matter. It could be anything.
Right?
I'm
such a visual person, so I like to do
just ignore the fact that I can't type, because now everybody's watching me type.
Fun. Everyone's probably, I'm surprised you don't got some comments in here being like, that's spelt wrong.
The spelling police needs to stay at bay. It's going to keep happening.
But just more or less.
So SOPs are good ones.
Yeah, and there's a good system out there. What is it? I don't have them on top of my head. Maybe you might know, Addie, but it like kind of documents for you, like it does screenshots and it writes it out for you. I'm trying to think of the name. I can't remember.
I feel like I saw one on my list. I have a list of tech, but I feel like I saw it. I just didn't figure out. I like Loom when it records the screen as I'm doing things, and it records me giving instructions. That's what worked for me when I went away, and I left it for Rachel. So I like Loom for that.
Yeah. And I like to say, like, SOPs can be kind of like a recipe. And thinking of like, you don't have to, you can be, it depends on to the type of SOPs you're doing, I think. Because I used to do SOPs when, as some of you might know or might not know, I used to work in tech industry, and we used to work with big platforms called like Kensico and Elcom. So those are a beast of CRM/website. So it's a combination between both platforms, and I would have to create documentation on how to find like their CRM piece, or implement these things, or edit something on the website. And so personally, I would like to do like written out SOPs at a high level with written pieces, but then screenshots of things, because I'm such a visual person. Because if someone's like, oh, go to the left, especially somebody who is dyslexic, I'm like, what's left? Just tell one screenshot, put me over there, and then I could probably start to figure it out.
Yeah. No, I do like that. I do like them written out too. I did this with a client where a person was leaving the company and they gave their notice. So I sat in with the person and I did, we were just doing, I think, Google Meets. So we recorded it and then we had the transcript going as well. The first time I did it, I didn't do it that way because Google Meet didn't have the transcript function. So we had to use Otter to get it all transcripted. But basically she was just talking at me at, here are the things that I get to do in my job and blah, blah, blah. She had been at the company for 12 years. So it is hard to keep track what everybody's roles are, right? So it evolves so much year to year that this was super helpful that we were able to say, okay, so we need to make sure this is getting done and we need to make sure this is getting done. So that's how we did it. We kind of did like exit, I wouldn't say interview, but it was more of like exit role type of research recordings, where then we turn them into these SOPs and we have a folder of all of them. So if somebody's like, I need to go buy water tickets from the municipality, where do you go? And you just go and type in water tickets, and the chart comes up, it tells you step by step and that kind of thing. It saves you from having to refigure out some of these things that you've been paying this person to figure out for a really long time, right? It's already been figured out for you, so don't lose that information, kind of thing. So SOPs are a really good one. Another thing that's kind of like an SOP that I work on a lot is a refresh of workflows.
Yeah.
So that would be the reason why I put up there, we need to like simplify things. In our business, the one way when we first start out, and then we keep it as long as we can, but we experience growth a couple times and it no longer serves us, and we find that we're doing extra steps or we're not thinking of how we can combine things, and now we have better tech or better systems. So I do a lot of refresh of workflows in CRMs, or it could also be in the project management tool as well. So is it a workflow internal, or is it either, editing the client experience is what I call it.
Could even
right?
also be an email marketing system too. So like your general.
Yeah.
So like we're just changing into a new.
Yeah. So that's another thing is we do we're having some issues with our internet here. Just bear with us. I just wanted you guys to see some of the so email marketing setup would be a good one. I tend to sorry.
Oh, nope. I think it's just cutting out. Might be because you're sharing the screen. I think it's just like not appreciating.
Here. And see if it works better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to take off there we go. Maybe this is a little bit better, but it's still loading. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just taking off the camera because it's too much bandwidth here on my end. So yeah, email marketing setup. That's a good one that could be done in a day.
Mm-hmm. And just for example, perhaps.
Okay.
I just did I'm doing, like I just mentioned, the website fresh up on our site. And what I'm doing is changing up our opt-in. So created like a bundle for business owners of a whole mix of things. So I want like that email funnel to be slightly different than what I originally did. So just going back to the email marketing setup, maybe you've already had a funnel in there, or maybe you need a new opt-in. Like that's another idea as well. We do, we wear many hats. So I actually did a social media audit. So an audit, and created general templates for them. Like it depends on the max. Like I put a maximum of how many templates maybe we would design for them, but we have done that as well, reviewed what they've done so far, some tweaks for the messaging, how to refresh their overall social media presence. It should be mentioned too, like VIP days are good, yes, but the person who is wanting to do the VIP days need to be present throughout the day just in case we have questions or tech issues and getting kicked out of things. Because I find sometimes when they think that we're in there, you never know what technical issues we might have.
Right. Right. That's the other thing too. So we have to be very careful about as service providers what we promise clients, right? And how to kind of make sure that we're honoring their time and investment, and they're also honoring our time investment right into this. So it is different. And sometimes clients just don't know, right? They're just not the experts in this, and they just don't know how long it's going to take. I think it just depends on how you communicate things and how we can say, hey, I'm going to do my best to detangle this for you. And while I'm doing it, I'm taking copious notes. And what I typically do is I leave them with DIYs if they want to do them. More often than not, they don't want to do them. That's why they've hired me in the first place. But if they want to kind of take one thing off the list, they will go ahead with the instructions that I've given and they can do them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And like sometimes, well, another thing could be like an SEO review on your website and refresher. And sometimes I find with SEO that has to be done more in a day because you're wanting to look at the Google Analytics and going back in there and tweak. But you can still do an audit within the day and then come back in and tweak things a little bit later. But that would be outlined as well within whoever you're working with a VIP day intensive. It should be outlined anyways. But on that note, I'm just creating.
I agree.
Sorry, still cutting in and out.
No. I was just saying I agree. I definitely agree with this. Here, let's take this off for a minute and see if it goes any better here. I'll keep updating it.
Okay.
I'll keep updating it and seeing if this gets any better. It's kind of wild how it's going. So I would say that to the SEO thing, you can do an audit and you can do the basics and you can refresh things. And I always say that it's worse when you've got pages on pages on pages. So, it's okay to delete some old pages from your website. Like, don't collect them because that's just extra for Google to crawl and whatnot. Unless you want to hide them, I guess, but then you're also probably getting confused on the copy of copy. Most people are not very organized when it comes to files or with their website pages. So I would say that you can do an audit and do the basics, make sure all the title headings are in, all of your keywords, your meta descriptions, you have proper graphics, like how fast is your website? Do you have a mobile version? A lot of people forget that when they update their website, you have to go in and make sure you tweak the mobile version as well, right?
Yes.
That's why the one under it, I put creating content for SEO specifically. So that would be things like blogs and whatnot. I think you can batch create them and then have them, scheduled out. You can still do that in a day reservation. I just think you can't do both. You can't do a whole website audit of SEO and fixing things that way on the basic level and also create, and backlinks and all the other stuff.
Yeah, because that's kind of like, well, it's taken me, I want to say I'm like 3 weeks behind on this website. In my defense, I went away too. I decided to take a break in the mix of doing this rebrand refresh. And also too, I was stuck on like a speaking page on how I want to position it. But I feel like sometimes slow and steady wins the race. But with that, I've done like all the copy, all the things, and then I have somebody else coming in to do just like the SEO support and then the DNS stuff. I know I can do it, but that's the piece where I think anyone listening, you need to kind of know where you're burnt out at. And like, I'm on the level of burnt out.
Yeah.
Because I just do all the things at once this year, and I do not know why. So I'm crazy. But I was like, you know what? If I just know that these pages are done, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, then I just need to hand the reins over and get somebody else to do that extra stuff within a day. And then that just leaves like, okay, I know that's operating a little bit more. That's more in tune with what it needs to be. And also too, like the LinkedIn thing, like that's another idea actually. Like if you just want to, because everyone might be like, well, how do you do that within a day? But I would say it would be important to sit down with whoever is creating like the VIP day, do like a LinkedIn like messaging, understand where you're trying to go with your LinkedIn, because LinkedIn in itself is really good for SEO. It has its own kind of search engine. So knowing how to work with somebody with that can help you revamp your page within a day.
I think it's also really important for people to understand, because I was talking to people who had, like, I'll give you an example. I went to the chamber meetup, and it was wonderful, met lots of really great people, but these are some of the people that are part of the Chamber of Commerce are very traditionally professional professions. Professional professions, but they are not used to thinking in this digital world still, I find, or they are, and they're thinking that social media is the end all be all. And that's when you see people online ask questions like, I can't convert my followers, but I have like 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 followers. And it's always like, yeah, because you're not speaking to your clients, you're speaking to followers, or you're speaking to a general public because you still don't understand your brand messaging or your ideal client. And they'll say, well, I can help anyone. And I was like, yes, we all started that way too. You could help everyone and anyone, but that's not who your ideal client is. And the problem, it is that you have lukewarm messaging out there that could maybe apply to everybody, but not everybody feels compelled enough to understand that you're their solution. So when I was talking to them, it was kind of like they were looking at me like I had 5 heads when I said, you've experienced growth, so now you need to rebrand. You need to change your brand messaging to only work with the people that you really want to work with, and that's where you're going to start attracting, because that's your tone changes, your messaging changes, how you speak to them, when you speak to them, what platforms you speak to them, that all matters, right? So I think that could be a whole day too of going through your brand messaging, what's current, where do you want it to be, and then working with the client back and forth to say, I need your insight into who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. And who you don't want to work with is equally just as important, because you can start there. That's your start. Okay. And then you can work your way down if you're not sure. But I was also bad about this. I would just kind of roll my eyes when people are like, you got to niche down, right? Niching down isn't necessarily the best thing for people. But niching down has a very important essence to it, which is you can't help everyone. So you better pick who you want to help. Right.
Exactly.
I feel just we're just past actually the halfway mark, so I'm just going to do a quick station intro. We could talk forever, you and I, so this is hard to remember sometimes. So for those of you that are just tuning in, you are listening to Negotiating Happiness, and we are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in the beautiful city of New Orleans. And if you wanted to sit back and relax and watch some of our shows on your big screen TV, a lot of our shows are on Roku TV as well. Check us out there. I am here with Brittney Ashley, lead strategist at Creative Dynamics, and she is also a business coach. And we are talking about how you can give your business a makeover in just one day by utilizing day reservations as a service. And we're just kind of going through everything that you could possibly work through in your business to get, people's creative juices flowing, or hopefully they have an aha moment of, hey, that's been on my list for a while. I could get this done in a day. Wild.
I know you and I, because I am a coach too, and you and I were kind of like spitballing ideas of how can we kind of combine these two things together. So then maybe it's like we'll come in and does a little bit of the system cleanup, and then you and I will come on the other side of it and do some general business coaching. So business coaching, true essence of it is not me telling you what to do. It's just me asking you curious questions, because I find sometimes we get stuck in the surroundings of all the noise and we forget where we want to go with our business. I know for me personally, that's why I became a business coach / imposter syndrome coach, is because I did hire a quote unquote coach, which was not a true coach. And it was more or less consulting, if anything, and tell me what to do. And I kind of forgot who I was as a business owner, as my values in the business and overall premise of what I was trying to do. And I remember when my sister-in-law would be like, Brittney, it was like you're brainwashed. And I was like, yeah, I really don't know what I was thinking about all that. Even though like I know what like I have my background in marketing communications, I've done business, I've done but I was just kind of like, just really, because I was following the notion of this person had messaging of, I'm going to promise you 10K months. And like, when you're just starting out, you kind of like, yeah, I want 10K months.
Right. Who doesn't? And it's that whole like hustle for your money mentality, which it's not a bad mentality, because it kind of pushes you through those really hard first couple of months, couple of years, whatever, but it's not sustainable. And it's not like, now that you have more experience, and same with me, right? Like I was there too. It's so gimmicky. When you sell somebody a service saying, I'm promising you like 10K months, it's super gimmicky, especially all the social media noise of work 3 hours a day and make 20K a month. And you're like, how is that possible? It's not possible. They're just not telling you all the details of what it could be. Or I love that they would extrapolate things like, well, I did it for a week and it gave me this result, but so times it by 4 weeks, you can make 20. I was like, but that is not realistic in a 1 month period times like 12 a year.
Like maybe you landed that one client that was absolutely amazing and got you some good numbers. But the thing is, in reality, the old saying is Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right.
So it's just kind of that reminder to everybody, like, doesn't matter what things are going on in the social media realm, is to really look underneath your own hood, figure out what's working, what's not working, and build those foundations. So when you're ready to scale, or you are scaling, you can really move that needle. And that's like, so going back to coaching, that's why I love coaching, because it's just asking curious questions, and it's like a lot of awkward silences. It's really funny sometimes. I always pressure of people like, okay, I'm going to ask you these questions, and if I don't give you the answer and it's just awkward silence, it's okay.
Yeah, because it gets people thinking, and that's exactly the point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, what else are we left off, and we put brand messaging and ideal client research. I've done a VIP day where we figured out, I guess, a system where the client can leverage their online presence through a sponsorship system. So we just did like sponsorship development. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we kind of laid out all of the different ways that, you could use sponsorship and how you can leverage your channels. And we looked at current contacts and how they've done business so far. So we took what worked and we kind of made it into a system where we can keep track, and where somebody else can come in and send those pitch letters to like previous people that enjoyed, doing that kind of thing with them. And that's like a whole other income stream for this business. That's not what their business is sustained on. This is just extra, right? Their whole business worked on having these play groups, right? So there was membership fees. And she also had made these connections with the people that provide some of the venues for some of these play dates or play groups. And having done that and having a following, it's only natural that the next thing you do is try and leverage that following to say, hey, I have X many members that see my postings or my email marketing or all that. So once you've refreshed all that, use it to the best of your advantage. And I liked it that because it had like the biggest sponsor events had to do with really good causes. It wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about product. It was about supporting a cause and getting moms to, go out, socialize, make friends. Like I think that's what I enjoyed the most out of this, is because it was, not only was it a sustainable, extra source of income, it also promoted what a lot of us look for in motherhood. So I was totally pumped to do that one.
Yeah, you just actually made me think of too, like maybe you're thinking of wanting to start up an event within your area, for example, and you're just kind of struggling. So you can definitely use like a VIP day on that, on picking our brain on how to build different kind of collaborations within the area, making sure you understand your values, because you just don't want to collaborate with anybody. You want to make sure that they're on the same page. I actually had somebody say, oh, like looking for sponsorships for, I can't remember, but along the lines like, oh, should outreach to Lululemon. I'm like, is that really the value though? Like, is that within the value of your business? Like, let's think back, like not to squash Lululemon, but they've just been through the seas of interesting messaging from their CEO, which I feel that are not ethically great. So for me, I was like, I don't sit in alignment with that brand. Other people can maybe alignment, but I personally hardly ever buy anything from it because it just doesn't align with me as a person. And I've seen other things come up. And so you have to kind of really think of like different sponsorships and making sure too, if somebody's saying certain things, are you okay to ride that wave, or else you're probably going to have to do some PR yourself? That's all I'm saying. Public relations in its finest for small businesses.
Right. Yeah. Oh, we've got a hello here from Julie. Hi, Julie. How are you?
Hi, Julie. I just find sometimes
thanks for
oh, sorry. Sometimes we get really excited with possibilities of those different sponsorships that we sometimes forget about the values of what has happened, or
Right. And and having a cause is it's not only special, it's definitely worthwhile. And it also changes who your audience is, because not everybody is going to want to show up to your cause, or not every potential sponsor is going to resonate with it. So it just takes a little bit more planning. So in our list here, I actually wrote event planning and setup, both digital and local. So tech, logistics, and relationships, because that's what sponsorship is, right? It's relationships. And we do that. I've done that for trade shows as well. So a lot of trade shows means materials, logistics, travel, like, get shipping things there and back, that kind of thing. We've done that quite a bit. It's funny. I do, maybe not for a day reservation, but lots of like travel arrangements, or I guess even cleanup of just typical admin. I guess people don't, typical admin, emails, calendar, events. We even track, like, it's hard when you're in a bigger company and everybody needs a subscription and whatnot. We do audits on what you're spending your money on and whatnot, right? Like, we do a lot of that resource audits.
Because I find sometimes you forget that you've purchased something, and it's like insurance for me. I knew I had insurance, like not business insurance. I'm meaning like if anything ever happens to me, I have insurance in that way. Like if I have to go to the hospital or anything like that. Like I have business insurance, but this is specifically like self-insurance.
Right.
I forgot that I had it because I was meeting somebody and then like pitching me all these things. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have this. I messaged somebody and I was like, oh yeah, I do have it. And I'm at the time where at the end of the day, like it's still good that I'm paying into it, but I'm at the point in my business where we might be able to adjust it and make a higher payment because of what's coming in a way. So
Right.
Yeah. Note it. Something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. There's actually an event coming up in October, I want to say, and it's through the Leaders Lounge. And it's about financial planning for female entrepreneurs. And I can't wait to go because it definitely talks everything about, like how, like what happens now that you have a running business that's making you some money. How do you figure that out? Right. So, and it's funny because this is not only a one consultant type of advice, that you have everything from insurance brokers to mortgage brokers to everything that would make sense in between, that kind of fits your life. And if it doesn't fit your life, then maybe your business should change. So people keep forgetting about that. But yes, so like in one day you can think about all of those things and kind of bring them to life. What else could we do in a day for people? I know we talked a little bit about a website refresher, and I think I need to go back to that to say, if it's updating things and connecting maybe your opt-in or like a lead form and doing little things here and there, that makes sense. If you need a whole website refresher, you'd probably need more than a day, but it's definitely one of those things that you shouldn't forget about, right? So
another idea too, because I know have offered this in the past, was just sitting down and writing blogs, but we would put like a limit of how many blogs per word count. And for example, like Lisa would be able to write copy, specifically blogs to your tone and all that, at least 5 to 6 blogs in a day, give or take. And then you have a blog to write for the next 6 months within your business. So it depends on how you want to utilize it. When you're using VIP days, it's important to ask those people who are producing it any speculations of maybe not be able to finish something, or something that maybe you might not even consider.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So we put creating content batching and SEO, right? That you could use that for some of those blogs. And I think people forget that you should probably have a strategy behind it. You can't just write random SEO, right? Or random content. You should have a strategy for that. So maybe making an annual marketing strategy, right? This kind of goes hand in hand with your messaging and with your different social media audits. You have to understand that algorithms change all the time. And just as an example, I think, Instagram realized that we're getting, bombarded with 1 million posts a day, more than that, obviously. And there's no real engagement, or there's no real value to some of those. They're just fluff posts. So you can do all the fluff posts you want. And before that, the algorithm was favoring people who were posting lots and posting consistently. Now it's no longer doing that. It's doing, who engages with it the most, because that's a really good indicator of how much value you bring to these. So when you are planning out your social media, you should have some sort of strategy of, how do you want to appear to people? What are your pillars or buckets, whatever you want to call them, and how do we do the most? So for example, you could pick 4 subjects And out of those 4 subjects, you could create, 6 blogs and, 20 posts and so on and so forth. You can reuse pieces of content. Or one of my favorite things to do is I'm going to go back through my older posts where I think that I could offer a lot of information. I just didn't maybe pose it to the right audience, and I'm going to rewrite about it in the current context, or in context that is more helpful to me now, right? So that's all part of doing some strategy, some thinking, so that when you do hire your social media manager, or if you hire us to do content batching, you're not just kind of throwing darts at a wall, because that's not going to be effective. So if you want bang for your buck, you got to plan it.
Yes. Yeah. Love it. It's so true.
Yeah.
I feel like you too, as I say quality over just post content. Like, I personally am kind of sporadic, because I like to make sure that if I'm creating content, it makes sense. So I would definitely say this pushed myself a lot more with writing content, because I want to make sure I promote the radio show, and then I want 2 solid posts in between. So it's just not the promotion. So I'm not going to bore too many people with just the same kind of post in a way. So I'm always kind of mindful of that, of how to break it up. But it's also too of how you can sustain your time. So I love social media management tools, because it helps me kind of pretty much bulk my content. I know it's kind of like an assistant that will push things out as needed. And there's tools out there too that you can really leverage, that has like, you can use popular real videos or music, for example. So like Vista Social, I know I just talked about that recently here. I got that on AppSumo, and it's nice just to see how much I can leverage, and also see the analytics, and versus just guessing.
Yeah. That's the other thing too, is when you do a social media audit, you're going to be able to understand a little bit more when you look at your professional dashboard, like what's working and what's not. I don't do it as often as I should, but I will send screenshots to my social media manager, and I will say, hey, these posts, performed really well. I think we should do some more of this with these different kinds of topics. So lately, I have to say about, promoting yourself. Yeah, you're right. Don't just have kind of blanket, promote, but do take the time to tell people what you do, because sometimes you never know who's watching. I mean, the fact that I got multiple people going, oh, you can provide VA services too. That's weird. I thought you were an online business manager. Well, I am. And it's not, but I also have different options of services, and I realized I wasn't talking about it enough. So that's an indication of, maybe we should sprinkle a couple of things in there. But at the same time, I didn't want to let go of all of my posts of like, hey, here's how I've been using Dipsado before the app came out, and by the way, the app came out, you should get it. Or, hey, I really love Wix because it does XYZ. Did you know that you typically don't need a CRM if you do this? Or you can combine your email marketing. Or so it's more of like, did you know this is super helpful for people that are trying to keep it simple? This is super user friendly kind of thing. But definitely have it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we're at the top of the hour here. Oh, we're having Johnny's saying hello from YouTube. Hello, Johnny. How are you? I love it when people come in.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's great.
And the
we're go ahead.
I was just going to say, to like, because I know we're almost ending, and the essence of VIP days, really the sky's the limit. It's just more or less of sitting down and mapping out where you need to go. And like, I know, like, even just having like a quick hour or 30-minute call to map it out with the person, they'll be able to easily pinpoint where it makes the most sense. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. So if you guys want to follow Brittney, please follow her on Instagram. She post all of these golden nuggets over there too. So I'm going to paste the link in the comments as well. so that you guys have a direct link there. And if you are looking to get more information, I'm sure we'll talk about this again, but please shoot us a message and we're happy to answer. Go to our Instagram accounts. We'll answer our DMs or our comments there. Day reservations are a really, really good example of how you can just give your business a makeover, because if you fix the inner workings, it'll show on the outside as well. Your clients will notice, I promise you. Thank you so much for coming on today, Brittney. And I'm sure we'll have you on again because we have lots more to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody that showed up in the chat room. We always appreciate you. Thank you for your comments and saying hello. I love that. And thank you to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We appreciate having the platform for us to be able to reach lots of entrepreneurs or small businesses that would like to learn from us. And we will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.